Citi Field in New York, the New York Mets play the Miami Marlins. New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by Fidelis Care. Quality health coverage, it's our mission. By Bob's Discount Furniture. Shop for untouchable values at the touch of a button at mybobs.com. By Geico, over 75 years of savings and service. By Cadillac. And by StubHub, the official fan-to-fan ticket marketplace of the New York Mets. Well, the Mets got plenty of flying miles in over the last 10 days, but they're back in New York. Fans ready to ride the 7 train, crowd the parking lots because the Mets are back at Citi Field. A week ago tonight, the Mets were 4 games ahead of the Nationals. Now they have a 9.5 game lead with just 19 games to play. And a pleasant good evening, everybody, and welcome to Citi Field. Gary Cohen, Ron Darling, Keith Hernandez back together again as the Mets open a 9-game homestand with the first of 3 against the Miami Marlins. The Mets are on an incredible run right now. 7 straight wins. They seem to be doing it in unlikely fashion every day. Yesterday was certainly a great example of that when the Mets came from 3 runs down with 2 out in the 9th and beat the Braves in the 10th inning. But this week has been a sign of a team that just can't lose. It's got to be an incredible feeling for a team.
I've been very fortunate enough to play on 3 championship teams, and it's all the same feeling. It's 25-man roster. It's someone new every day. Now, granted, it's been Cespedes that's been carrying this ball club, and what a pickup he's been. But we can't show you enough video right here, folks, enough highlights of the people that have contributed with time constraints. But that's the feeling you get. You never feel like you're out of a ball game. When you don't get the big hit, you walk back to the dugout. The guy in the on-deck circle, you say to him, hey, pick me up. And guess what? He picks you up. It's that kind of camaraderie, that kind of feeling, which you see right there in the dugout with all these big hits. It's just invigorating for this ball club.
And even for the pitching staff, Ronnie, I would think it means you're never out of a ball game.
You know what's great about it, Gary? When you're old and gray like we are, you're going to remember these championship kind of seasons. It's where you become a family, where you know that if you don't come through, the other guy comes through. And it's stuff that'll happen 20, 30 years down the road that you'll look at each other and there'll be a twinkle in your eye because stuff happened on that team that never happened again in your career.
Well, we'll see if the Mets can keep it going tonight. They'll have Logan Verrett on the mound. He takes Matt Harvey's spot in the rotation.
Well, it's interesting. Logan is a pitcher that all 4 pitches he can throw for strikes. He has been fantastic since he's come up out of the bullpen. And then he got that spot start. Where? Oh, my God, in Colorado, of all places. He mixed it up through all 4 of his pitches for strikes. He got the job done in place of Matt Harvey. It was supposed to be Matt's start. And again, he's doing that this evening. Logan Verrett has been invaluable in the small number of games he's pitched for the Mets.
It's another matchup of rookies. Left-hander Justin Nicolino goes for the Marlins.
Well, he's almost like the anti-Jose Fernandez for this Miami team. Fernandez 16-0 at home. Justin Nicolino 3-0 on the road. Has not had a great 8 starts so far. Looking for a good one tonight.
So the Mets trying to keep it going tonight against a Marlins team that beat them 2 out of 3 on their just completed road trip. It's the Mets and the Marlins at Citi Field. All the action coming your way on SNY. Buick. Visit TriStateBuick.com and experience the new Buick for yourself. And by State Farm. Today's State Farm agent of the game is John Garfinkel of Brooklyn. Contact John at johngarfinkel.com. The most popular way to follow the Mets' push to the postseason is with MLB.com at Bat, the #1 app for live baseball. Enjoy live look-ins, highlights, replay reviews, scores, StatCast, live radio broadcasts, and more. Download MLB.com at Bat for your smartphone or tablet now. Time for the Coldwell Banker home field advantage. And the Mets right up near the top in home pitching. And why not? Mets are 45-24 at home this year. And they start a 9-game homestand tonight. A homestand that, who knows, might include a celebration. Let's try and get it going. With Logan Brick getting the start tonight, his first pitch is coming right up. There's the Marlins starting lineup tonight. Giancarlo Stanton was out taking batting practice today, which I guess is a good sign if he hopes to play before the end of the year. But he's not playing. Neither is Adeiny Echeverria, who's still out with a hamstring injury. So Miguel Rojas fills in there. D. Gordon, who has had a huge season against the Mets and a huge season overall in that leadoff spot for Miami.
Well, the Jeep numbers for Logan Verrett, not a lot of work, but his work has been good. And we talked about that start that he had in Colorado. 8 innings, only gave up a run in that ballpark. That's like throwing a complete game shutout. He's been outstanding.
And we'll take a look at your first place Metropolitans. Lagares in center field, first start since the 5th of September. He hit the home run against Miami. Kadire, only his 3rd start in right field. The infield, Flores at shortstop, Uribe at second base. d'Arnaud behind the plate.
Terry Collins putting pretty much a right-handed platoon in against the lefty tonight. The only left-hand hitter he left in the lineup is Lucas Duda. And he said he was thinking of playing Eric Campbell at first, but he feels as though Duda's got to get some at-bats.
Yes.
And so Lucas stays in there against the lefty tonight.
We'll see if Duda's going to be effective down the stretch. There's going to be a lot of tough decisions to make when you get out of the September roster and have to get to a real roster for, knock on wood, the post.
It's going to be hard to get back to 25 guys because more than 25 guys are contributing right now.
How many do the Mets have up? 38?
38. And by the way, Hansel Robles made it back from the Dominican. He had been away for
That's right.
a death in the family and missed a flight along the way, but now he has rejoined the team, so that's a full complement in their bullpen.
Can you imagine 38 guys in a clubhouse?
I thought there was more than one flight out to New York, out of Santo Domingo.
Marlins have been playing well lately. They lost yesterday to Max Scherzer in the Nationals, but they've won 9 of their last 12, and they gave the Mets fits a week and a half ago in Miami. There's Dan Jennings, the manager of the moment for the Marlins.
As soon as they said he wasn't returning, they played really well since then, which I don't get.
D. Gordon having a terrific year, leading the National League in hits, third in the league in batting, and he has 27 of those hits against the Mets. Corners pinch in as Verrett throws his first pitch of the night, and it's a fastball strike to Gordon, and we're underway. Logan Verrett, 25 years old, making his second major league start.
Well, D. Gordon certainly is a fine, top of the order kind of hitter. 50 stolen bases on the year, caught 16 times. He's an igniter.
352 on base percentage at the top of that order. Most of that through base hits. Doesn't walk a lot. Tries to bunt his way on and fouls it off.
You know you're fast when the infielders are playing double play depth when you lead off the game. I mean, that's how fast you are. They can't play all the way back.
Christian Yelich on deck, and then Martin Prado for the Marlins.
Well, we showed Terry Collins there in the dugout. Terry is one. He wants to get this over and done with as fast as possible. He's keeping the pedal to the metal.
1-2 from Verrett, and it's slap foul. Your Major League Baseball hits leaders: D. Gordon leading the National League, Jose Altuve leading the American League.
Outside chance of D getting to 200.
That's presented by DraftKings. Play daily fantasy baseball for free on DraftKings.com. Enter promo code NYM for free entry. Right ahead, 1-2, and Gordon slaps one foul. Well, speaking of Altuve and the Astros, they had a comeback, much like the Mets had a crazy comeback in the ninth inning yesterday.
I mean, the Angels were looking to sweep him and get right back in that race in the American League West. And like you said, they came back from 3 runs down and somehow won that ball game.
2 out of nobody on in the ninth,
right.
Just the same way, but they scored 5. Jed Lowry hit a pinch hit home run, and they won. Tight to Gordon, 2-2. That would have really tightened up that AL West. Texas would have been only a half game back, and the Angels would have been just 2.5 back had it gone the other way. Anthony Rendon, a leadoff home run against Aaron Nola in Philadelphia tonight, and the Nats out to an early lead. 7th pitch of this opening at bat to Gordon, and he slaps one down to third. David Wright has to wait on it and makes the throw in time to get the speedy Gordon one away. So 1 out and nobody on. Here's Christian Yelich. Yelich finishes the season strong, a year that has been at times disappointing and injury plagued for Yelich, but the last 13 games hitting .348 and trying to reclaim some of that promise that the Marlins had in their outfield when the year began with Yelich and Ozuna and Stanton. Yelich the only one of the 3 in the lineup tonight.
Well, it's been an injury marred year. None more than Giancarlo Stanton. Who knows if he's going to come back and finish this year. You wouldn't want to take a chance maybe on playing him considering the hand injury.
Line drive, and Uribe goes up to grab it. 2 down. Not sure he can pick quarters off the top of the backboard, but he had enough elevation to pull down that line.
Yeah, there's no Connie Hawkins and Juan Uribe. They'll be all over him at some point.
Bill Russell, too.
But that wasn't a foul. That was a good play. Foul play. That was a good play.
Here's Martin Prado. Prado likewise finishing strong, hitting .380 over his last 19 games, up to .285 for the year. And like Gordon, he has really stung the Mets this year. 23 hits against Met pitching, a .365 average, and he takes a strike from Barrett.
Well, he won the 2 ball games when the Mets started the last road trip. They got off to a bad start. They lost the 2 out of 3 in Miami, and he won both those games late with base hits.
Well, he had that long at bat for, was it a sac fly, a base hit against Clipper.
Got the double down the right field line. Both game winners.
I was very surprised that Martin Prado was not picked up by someone around the trade deadline, because he's one of those professional kind of players like the Mets have in Uribe and Kelly Johnson. Just gets it done.
Well, the Yankees picked him up last year. Another chance for David Wright. Hop comes up for him nicely. Side retired. So Morgan Barrett sets the Marlins down 1-2-3 in the first. Mets will come to bat in the bottom of the first with no score. In 9 days, and Michael Kadire coming back from wrist problems, his first start in nearly 2 weeks.
Well, Justin Nicolino, you can see his Toyota numbers. Not a lot of starts there. Nicolino, who's going to go to the University of Virginia, but signed a contract instead when he was selected in the second round by the Toronto Blue Jays. First rounder, Noah Syndergaard.
That was in 2010. Juan Lagares will lead things off for New York. Lagares has not played much, but when he's played recently, he has been on point. He had the double that got the Mets' 9th inning rally started yesterday. In fact, in the month of September, Lagares has had 9 bats, and he has 5 hits in those 9 September at bats with a double and a home run. Lagares right in Cespedes trying to get the Mets started against the rookie left-hander Nicolino.
Nicolino, you're not going to see around 90 is about as fast as he throws. A little breaking ball. His changeup is the pitch. If that's working, he's going to have some success. You know, with that guy, maybe not.
Get some pitch. I like to hit third behind him. Actually, lead off with him behind you. Absolutely.
And he's got the parakeet sleeve going tonight, perhaps bidding for a reappearance of his favorite bird.
You can see it happening. So.
On the inside corner, Nicolino, who strikes out very few, has a strikeout to start the night. Nicolino began the night with just 16 strikeouts in 48 big league innings.
Dan Iasonia, who's always had a nice liberal strike zone for an umpire. That one catches the corner, though. He's a pitcher's umpire.
So 1 out and nobody on. Here's David Wright. David has played 15 games since coming off the disabled list. Over that stretch, hitting .262 with 2 home runs. Just 1 for his last 14. Had a day off yesterday, and he takes a strike.
And a game where the Mets did everything they could to give that game away yesterday and came out with a W, Gary. Oh, and the Marlins defense brought to you by Coors Light. The youngster Yelich in center. Ichiro playing for the injured Stanton and Wright. Rojas subbing for Echevarria. Realmuto has taken over the catching role.
David drives one deep to right center field, headed out toward the wall, and it short hops the fence at the Geico sign. And Wright pulls into second base for the 1-out double. That is as well as David has struck a ball to right center field since he's been back from the DL.
Well, he's always killed the lefty. It's almost out of the strike zone, Gary. Bell tie. Well done.
So here is Cespedes, who got a very warm welcome when his name was introduced to the crowd tonight. He was just named National League Player of the Week. Why not? Could have been each of the last 3 weeks.
That's right.
He's actually the second straight Met to win National League Player of the Week honors. Bartolo Colon won it the week before. Cespedes has played 40 games as a Met, 16 home runs, all of which have come in the last 30 games, 41 RBIs in the 40 games.
Basically 38 starts coming into the game, Gary.
Here's a pinch hitter yesterday. With the second game he hadn't started.
29 extra base hits out of his 53 hits in the Met pinstripes.
And you see the slugging percentage on the right there, just off the charts. 680 since joining the Mets. 77 extra base hits for the year, 97 runs scored. He's just having a phenomenal time.
Well, Iason is calling that pitch in, so the Mets hitter is going to have to be aware of that. The patience that Cespedes shows against pitchers he doesn't know. He'll take a few pitches, just try to gauge the speed.
And he's talked about using his early at bats in a game to set up later at bats. Said he was taught that in Cuba. Said it's the old school way of doing things.
So everything in so far to Cespedes. You'd think with a 1-2 count that Nicolino's got to throw a changeup away and down just to change it up. Change the eye level, change the speed level.
Nicolino, just 23 years old, got beat up in his last start against the Brewers last Monday, but his prior start against the Braves, he threw 7 scoreless innings. So he's had some good games. First game in the big leagues threw 7 scoreless against the Reds back in June. 1-2 to Cespedes.
Lucky he got that one back.
He wanted to come back in again for a triple helping. Left it out over the middle. Lucky he didn't get. Oh, you see the expression on Cespedes' face. He knew he had a pitch to hit.
Right at second and 1 out. Changeup misses away, 2-2.
Well, I know I've said it before, but I have never seen anybody carry a team like Cespedes has. The performance that he has done for the Mets is just extraordinary.
Seventh pitch of the at bat coming from Nicolino, and he fouls it back. Terry Collins was asked about that today, whether he's ever seen a player as hot as Cespedes. He mentioned Barry Bonds when Terry was coaching with the Pirates, and Jeff Bagwell during his MVP year when Terry was managing him with the Astros in '94.
So it's rare.
Yeah.
This is extraordinary.
But to have it happen with a player coming over to a new team, I think that's what's made it so incredibly special. And you see what the Mets record has been since he arrived. Again, the 2-2. He yanks one foul. That sizzles into the crowd.
And he's getting the barrel out.
Well, the two big acquisitions were Cespedes and Tulowitzki. Mets are 29-11. But since Cespedes was acquired, the Blue Jays are 32-10 since Tulowitzki was acquired.
Now the question is, when will Tulowitzki play again?
They said like a couple of weeks.
It's amazing if that's true. Fracture in his back. And it's a scapula. Grounded down to third. Prado behind the bag. The long throw on target against Cespedes as White holds at second. 2 out.
Good location on that changeup and predominantly pitched with the hard stuff.
Those two guys have been carrying on a 10-minute long conversation.
Well, he is a very funny player, a brilliant personality.
You know what he's saying, right? Come on, you're the captain. Get me to this team. I want to play this juggernaut.
Right.
There's Juan Uribe, who's playing second base for the Mets today. Uribe hitting .219 through his 37 games as a Met, with 5 home runs, 18 RBIs in limited playing time, and he takes outside. The Mets have got a formidable platoon system going right now. Uribe very good against lefties, and .280 on the year against left-hand pitching. And one of the writers today asked Terry Collins, and Terry won't answer any questions about the postseason now, but it's a pertinent question. When they get to the postseason, will he still be platooning, or will he have more of a set lineup? And I think it's a really interesting question to ask. And he's got 3 weeks to figure that out.
Well, we mentioned earlier about Duda playing and how Duda needs more playing time, Terry stated. But Duda's been the one guy that's been hitting the left-handers. He's been hitting left-handers decent this year. So you've got to get him ABs in hopes that you can play him every day postseason.
I personally don't think, other than Cespedes, David Wright, a couple of others maybe, they don't have a set lineup. Granderson, Darno. They don't have. I think they have to platoon. I think they have to stay with their strength. They have to have Uribe in against big at bats. Knock on wood again against Kershaw, a guy he's seen a lot.
Drives this one deep to center field. Back goes Yelich to the warning track, and he reels it in. 400-foot drive by Uribe results in the third out. That's with some good swings against Nicolino, but come away empty. No score after 1.
season game. All fans in attendance will receive the 2016 Mets Magnet schedule, courtesy of Hyundai. For tickets, visit Mets.com/tickets. Come on, Dad. Give me the cotton candy. Justin Bour leads off the second against Logan Verrett. Curveball in for a strike.
Bour got the big blast off Tyler Clippard.
Bour's hit 3 home runs against the Mets this year, and he's hitting .370 against Mets pitching.
Big, strong guy, dead pull hitter.
Phillies tying up the Nats 1-1 in the second.
Phillies been playing better, right? A little better.
Well, they've moved into a tie with the Braves for the bottom spot in the National League East. If you're near the bottom of the standings, you probably want to do everything you can to avoid finishing last.
Oh, it's a fight.
Ryan Howard hit a home run to tie that game for the Phillies. Second straight day he's homered. 1-1 to Bour with Dietrich on deck. And then it skips in. 2-1. The Nationals begin the day just 2 games over 500. If they were to fall below 500 for the season, it would be the second straight year that only one team in this division finishes over 500. Good changeup by Verrett to strike out Bour for the first out.
Good change, good spot, sinking. And that's how they pitched Bour in Miami, but Clippard had the tough time with him. Clippard has more of a straight change, doesn't have a sinking change.
Here's Derek Dietrich, who's been getting a lot of time in the outfield lately. Provided some power to the Marlins lineup when he takes a fastball for a strike. Dietrich 10 home runs, just 195 at bats this year for Miami. Been an infielder for most of his career. In the foul ground, and that'll settle into the crowd. 0-2.
Dietrich got a little dust up yesterday with Bryce Harper. Harper was trying to go first to third on an infield grounder to third base. Dietrich was standing on second, anticipating a double play. Never happened, and Harper and he collided, and Harper had to leave the game, but Harper's in the lineup tonight.
Yeah, they had concussion fears for Harper, but he passed all the tests. 0-2 from Verrett. And a one-hopper down to right. 2 out.
Another changeup, another 5-3 on your scorecard.
So 2 out and nobody on. That JT Realmuto. Realmuto in his rookie season hitting .249, but he's been hot lately. 9-game hitting streak, hitting .375 over the 9 games.
That's something you don't usually put to a catcher's name. 6 triples.
Well, in that ballpark,
yeah,
you would think that triples would flow like water.
Although next year, did you say that they're shortening them defensive load?
They're talking about it. Of course, they not only have the big dimensions of Miami, they get the very high fences. So that only if you're Giancarlo Stanton or somebody of that ilk are you going to bunch up a lot of home runs.
More home runs, more room in the Clevelander. It's a lot of good things that could happen.
Not sure you want to move the Clevelander that much closer to, you know,
the playing
general fans.
Yeah, yeah.
Might have some conflict there. Logan Verrett retired the first 5. Realmuto cracks one down the line, foul.
Interesting to watch see the glove of Logan Ferret. That's a classic glove that's been used by pitchers for years and years. The Rawlings glove, that kind of webbing, because there's no holes in it, so you can never see the grip of the pitcher inside the glove.
Right.
Most every pitcher used that kind of mitt in their playing days.
Plus the little sleeve for the index finger.
Yeah, so you don't pop it out and let people know you're throwing a breaking ball.
That's what Ed Whitson needed.
Pull down the line, another foul ball.
Rusty told me the story about that.
Rusty had his pitches, Ed Whitson's pitches. Ed would fan his glove, so he would hold his glove tight, and when he threw his changeup, he'd fan, open it up wide, and he would open his index finger on a breaking ball, pop his index finger up, which is why that sleeve on the glove is there, so a pitcher can't pop his finger up when he's throwing a secondary pitch.
But Rusty told me after you got one of your hits, you went down to first base and you're looking at Rusty and you showed him the finger. He did his finger. He did the finger.
Let me tell you another thing too, Gary. Rusty would not give away any of his tips on because Rusty had a boatload of pitchers.
He had the book. He had the book.
And he didn't do it all 84. 85, we got close in the end. He started telling the key hitters.
So he didn't share it.
Because we had a chance to get there. And he knew his time was running short. Legrand Orange.
Eighth pitch coming to Real Muto. And he struck him out. Barrett went away with a fastball, 92 miles an hour. 6 up and 6 down for Barrett with a couple of strikeouts to start his night. No score in the second. School is in, but there's still time for a ball game.
This is a special season. You gotta come to as many as you can.
Travis d'Arnaud will lead off for the Mets in the home second. Amidst all the conversation about Cespedes and all the newcomers, I don't think enough attention has been paid to what Travis d'Arnaud has been doing.
Yes.
Since returning from the disabled list.
Well, when he plays, he delivers. 38 ribbies in 51 games. Kid has one of the quickest bats on the team.
Last 10 games, red hot, hitting over 400, 424 to be exact.
See those numbers on the right. His OPS well over 900. And he hits it sharply, and it gets by Rojas and into left field. Now Rojas is no Adeiny Echeverria. Couldn't flag that ball down.
It's got to be a base hit.
And they give no credit for a hit. So the Mets have a leadoff base runner. Their second hit against Justin Nicolino. Look at that hit, by the way. Darno gets his average up to 299. Quite a feather in his cap if he can hit 300.
Anytime.
With power, with production. Bryce Harper just hit his 37th home run to put the Nationals back in front of the Phillies 2-1 in the third. I guess it's okay.
Mr. Nola's having some problems keeping the ball in the ballpark. Although you guys saw him, I did not see him pitch. You said he looked very good.
Didn't have a great night.
Yeah. No, he did not.
But you can see
he's got some talent.
Why they're high on him. Not an overpowering pitcher, though. Michael Kadire getting his first start since the 1st of September. And the tendonitis in his wrist that knocked him back.
What wrist did he hurt? His left? Right wrist? Left?
Right wrist.
Right wrist. Okay.
I mean, when he first hurt it, he could not even close his hand. Well, he got a cortisone shot, a lot of treatment, and finally it started to clear up.
Welcome to the 36-year-old club.
Darno at first and nobody out. Kadire fouls one down. Lucas Duda waiting on deck. That's in addition to trying to put the Nationals away or trying to overtake the Dodgers for potential home field. The Dodgers have Colorado later with Clayton Kershaw pitching. There goes Darno and a little dribbler to the right side. And Bohr makes the play. Darno got a huge jump against Nicolino and probably had the base stolen as Kadire grounds out. And Darno goes sliding into second.
Oh, he had it stolen. We always talk about video on how guys are going to hit or face a pitcher. We forget that a lot of these young pitchers give away if they're going to come to first or not with a throw, and they give it away and they see it on video. If they see it a couple times in person, they'll go.
How do they give it away?
Some pitchers only look at you when they're going to the plate. Some look at the plate when they're going to you. It's a very common thing for left-handed pitchers.
There's Lucas Duda.
At the big league level, Gary, there's none that bring their foot behind the rubber.
Yeah.
They all come right to the rubber because obviously they go behind, they can't come.
Right, then it's a ball.
Right.
Interesting though to see Darno trying to steal. He has one stolen base in his career. Tight to Duda. Lucas, 6 games since coming off the disabled list, is 3 for 18. So the Mets are waiting for him to reignite. We had that streak of 9 home runs in 8 games that concluded in early August in the series against the Nationals here, but he hasn't had a home run since, and that's 6 weeks now. Lifts this one to shallow left center, and Yelich calling all the way. 2 out.
Boy, Yelich has got a baby face.
Just 23. He's going to be a real good player. Now Wilmer Flores, we'll see if they pitch to him. Got first base open to the pitcher on deck. Wilmer is about as formidable a number 8 hitter as there is in baseball these days, isn't he?
I would walk him. 16 home runs. Got a pitcher on deck who's had what, 4 at bats, 0 for 4. Come on, Dan, throw the 4 fingers up.
And they do.
There we go.
So Flores will get the intentional pass, and Verrett will get a chance to get his first big league hit, perhaps his first big league RBI.
It's be a good position, to tell you the truth, for Wilmer at some point. it would really increase his on-base percentage, give him a chance of hitting for a higher average. He's a good breaking ball hitter.
Well, there aren't too many lineups that are deep enough to sustain Wilmer Flores as an 8-hitter. I mean, early this season he was hitting 4th and 5th because the Mets just didn't have the horses to put in the middle of that lineup. But it's just a testament to how much talent Sandy Alderson brought in and how Terry's utilizing it. And the Mets offense has followed suit. It's the highest scoring team since the Mets started bringing these players in.
And hitting an extraordinary amount of home runs.
Mets for the season are now 4th in the National League in home runs and 5th in runs scored, but they were dead last in runs scored on July 25th and number 1 since.
But did Logan Verrett get the memo that Mets starting pitchers, they drive in runs this season?
He couldn't get a hit at Coors Field. Now you're asking him to get a hit at Citi Field? Let's see how that works. Logan 0 for 4 in his brief big league career. Cuts one foul, 0-1. Logan began his big league career in the American League. Remember, he was with the Mets. He was a Rule 5 pick by Baltimore. They put him on waivers at the end of the spring. Texas claimed him, and he made his debut with the Rangers in April. Mets got him back in May. Little flare into shallow right. Gordon out, Suzuki in, and Ichiro playing very shallow, able to make the catch. So the Mets strand 2 in the second. No score as we go to the third. Sedan. SNY's Super Slow Motion is brought to you by your Mercedes-Benz Tri-State dealers. Visit them on the web at searchmercedes.com. Weather has cooled down considerably. A little bit of fall in the air.
Pretzel, hot dog, foam.
And knit cap.
Oh, it's not that cold.
Well, it got a little chilly in Atlanta yesterday, Ronnie.
I heard.
I mean, our first fall weather came in the most unlikely place.
How did Thursday night work out for you two? I felt so bad. 10:15, right? I mean, is that what time the game started?
The rain delay?
Yeah.
It wasn't too bad.
Yeah, it wasn't so bad.
It started at 9:30. It wasn't too bad.
It wasn't. It was all right. In bed at 1.
It's Atlanta.
It always rains in Atlanta.
That's right.
They tell us down there it's only when the Mets come to town.
Right.
Ichiro Suzuki leads off in the third and takes ball one from Barrett, but we have no evidence to prove that.
It's a rainy night in Georgia.
There you go.
Brooke Benton.
Feels like it's raining all over the world.
Sure did that night. Afternoon.
Out to left center field, and Lagares slides over to get it. Ichiro retired. That's 7 up and 7 down for Logan Barrett to start his night. This one's shaping up the same way his start did in Colorado. Now Miguel Rojas making his 21st start for the Marlins. He came over from the Dodgers in the same trade that brought them D. Gordon last offseason. Danny Echeverria, when we were in Miami, they were thinking his hamstring might keep him out a day or two. Well, it's 10 days later and he's still out. And they really miss him. It's hard to remember now when Miami's sitting at 61 and 82, but when the year began, the Mets thought the Marlins, a lot of the pundits thought that the Mets and the Marlins would be neck and neck in the standings.
Upside down record, right? The Mets are 82 and 61, 61 and 82 for the Marlins, who spent most of the year, not most of the year, but a lot of the year without their best player.
Well, he was pretty good when he played. He had 27 home runs when he went down in June. And they figured it was a 4 to 6 week injury, but here we are 2.5 months later, and he's not even close to coming back. Or at least it would seem that way. Played one rehab game that he pulled himself out of. Out to center field, and Lagares has the perfect angle. 2 out.
Putting the ball in play.
Now Justin Nicolino is 1 for 16 in his big league career.
It's a common case of a pitcher who is not afraid, aggressive, throws all his pitches for strikes. That's why Barrett's had success.
We saw when he worked out of the bullpen early this year, and then he was sent down to the minors more because he had options than because he merited a demotion.
He reminds me a lot of how some of the pitchers from generations ago would throw. Doesn't ever overthrow, changes speeds.
Control pitcher.
Yep.
They have to be fine. They have to move the ball in and out, change speeds. They're not going to overpower you. You have to be very crafty.
1-2 to Nicolino. And that's in there for a call, third strike. Third strikeout for Logan Barrett over 3 perfect innings. So the bottom of the third, still no score. daily fantasy baseball for free on DraftKings.com with the official daily fantasy partner of the New York Mets. Enter promo code NYM for free entry. Check out the Jets blog for a breakdown of yesterday's win over the Browns with an in-depth analysis and opinion, plus all the latest news on Cromartie's injury on Jets blog, featured on SNY.TV, your online home of all things New York sports. No ligament damage, week to week.
Okay, week to week.
They were afraid they're going to have to put him on IR.
Wow. The Harvard quarterback was pretty good for you guys yesterday.
He acquitted himself quite nicely. They did a good job converting turnovers into points. Do you want to talk about the Giants? I guess not.
I didn't see the game. I know it was a tragic L.
It was the kind of loss you generally associate with the Jets. Let's just put it that way. Phillies have tied up the game again. Freddie Galvis, an RBI single in the third, so 2-2 as they play in the fourth. Second time around the batting order for Justin Nicolino. Juan Lagares leads off and fouls back the first pitch. Lagares took a call, third strike his first time up. Wright and Cespedes to follow. Mets have had 2 hits. The Marlins have had none.
He's got that
Cover for a strike.
He's got that inside corner. The right-hander is kind of zeroed in. You can scare him off that inside plate. Just make sure, look in once in a while and pull one down the line. That'll stop him from being so aggressive inside.
Reached for Gordon to his right, and he can't get rid of it. Ball ran up his arm, and Lagares is aboard.
Well, Lagares' speed and hustling to first base. Gordon knows he has no time to waste and has a hard time on the exchange there. A little juggling act. You know, when the player lunges for a ball like that, it gives him 2 steps out of the box, makes him a little quicker. But on that play by Gordon, usually you see a second baseman, if they two-hand it there, they don't have to worry about the exchange. He had one hand and then had to make the exchange.
Lagares gets credit for an infield hit. That's their third hit against Nicolino. David Wright has one of them, a double to right center. And Nicolino runs that cover inside. David drove the ball to right center field. One hop to the wall. Just his second double of the season through 99 at bats. Flies this one out to center. Yelich should have plenty of room. Lagares going back to tag, and he's going to try it. The throw coming in from Yelich, close play, and he's out. Lagares trying to advance on Christian Yelich's arm, and comes up empty. 8-4, 8-6 on the double play.
Well, poor choice here. Now this was in Miami, and he caught it at this depth, and with that monstrous Miami center field, yes, but not here. He had to backstep. He didn't really get in front of it. Get momentum going forward. It's a strong throw and accurate. So an unwise choice by Juan.
Do you think when a player is getting less playing time, he's more apt to try and do something like that to prove his value?
Yes, and also, you know, you got a first base coach down there that can tell you no, 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 don't. I look at it this way: you got to be very smart. Cespedes is in scoring position every time he's up, so you want to be on base for him. Now, in defense of Mr. Goodwin, everything the Mets have been doing is coming up rosy.
Cespedes drives one deep left field. Another feat of strength into the second deck. Number 35 for Yoenis Cespedes. He's just showing off. Wow. 1-0 New York on another tremendous bomb off the bat of Yoenis Cespedes.
The home run derby here was in 2013. On Unbelievable. He saw him the first at bat, Gary, and had a lot of pitches against him. He had him measured. Just incredible.
It's got to be a change. Was it?
No, not sure.
See Real Muto's reaction.
17 in a Metropolitan uniform.
He has changed the equation.
Yes, I have to agree with you there. Oh,
No, I think it was a cutter. It's supposed to be a cutter.
he had to reach for it. Let go with one hand.
He just didn't have any spin on it.
Well, he's special. I have not seen anything like it. He can play. Beautiful balance. Not much of a stride. Oh, he just crushed it.
He now has 78 extra base hits for the season, and I mentioned this the other day. He's not going to be in the Mets record book for that number, but the Mets club record for extra base hits in a season is 80, and he's already got 78. Howard Johnson and Carlos Beltran have that mark. He is going places that nobody's ever been before. That Mets home run means $2,000 for an NYC community partner, courtesy of Citi. Two-two to Uribe, and he fouls off that fastball.
Well, just incredible. 36 runs, 17 home runs, 42 RBIs.
Not too many people hit it to the third row of the second deck.
The third row, also, he was out front a little bit.
Let go with one hand at the last moment.
So it might not have been his top exit velocity of the season, but he is just right. Most home runs by a player acquired at the deadline or later. Well, Mark McGwire's hit more, going from Oakland to St. Louis in '97. Full count to Uribe as he held the swing. Well, we've often invoked Manny Ramirez, the 2008 stretch he had for the Dodgers after being traded, finished fourth in the MVP balloting that year, as being the template for Cespedes as far as getting MVP votes, and he'll be right in that neighborhood, I think. Little flare off the end of the bat. Gordon runs it down, and the spinorama in time to get Uribe, and that retires the side. But the Mets grab the lead. A nightly dose of Cespedes.
Yes.
All the Mets need. Second deck. Number 35. 1-0 Mets.
Guess who?
400-plus foot blast off the bat of Cespedes, giving the Mets the lead.
I like your thinking, young man.
Well, Logan Verrett has gone perfectly through the Marlins. First time through the order. His second tour now. D. Gordon, who grounded out to third base his first time up. Corners in. And Gordon takes the curveball low and in. Gordon, Yelich, and Prado for the Marlins in the fourth. Gordon had a really nice year with the Dodgers last year, but faded a bit in the second half. He has not faded this year, and maybe when he hurt himself at midseason, when he dislocated his thumb.
Yes, he did.
That might have been the best thing that could have happened to him.
Well, you know, he's a slight of stature guy, so he's got 50 stolen bases, so he takes a beating. His body takes a beating. But I think when he first came up, you said to yourself, boy, he doesn't look like a shortstop when he came up with the Dodgers. But I think a lot of teams would like to have him right now.
Looks like a Gold Glove second baseman right now. 1-2 from Verrett. Slap toward the middle. Flores flashes over. Makes the quick throw on a hop and safe. Gordon able to beat it out for the first Marlins hit of the night.
Well, let's see if he beat it or did Lucas come off the bag. It's not good footwork by Lucas. He said he beat it. His foot was on the bag.
Dale Scott, the first base umpire, and he made a good call.
No, that's a ground ball. That can't happen. That's got to be a 6-3 on your scorecard.
So the tying run aboard. First time Verrett will have to pitch out of the stretch tonight as he takes on Christian Yelich, who lined out to Uribe at second base his first time up. Gordon with 50 stolen bases, and Verrett will try and keep a short halter on him. Gordon is second in the league in steals. He's also first in the league in getting caught. 16 times has been thrown out this year.
That's a huge lead, by the way. Huge.
Yelich trying to push a bunt David Wright's way. We have seen a lot of teams over the course of the last 3 weeks since David came back attempt to challenge him with bunts, and it seems nobody can get a bunt down.
Well, this is the problem. It's a small problem, but it's just the problem. Guys don't know how to bunt, so that's the issue.
I always felt a large lead at first base, Ronnie, was when they straddled where the circular cut in the grass, and in the beginning of the grass going towards second base. If they straddled that little angle there, that was a huge lead.
Well, think of it this way. Lucas takes, to me, a strange straddle at first base. His right foot is about a foot in front of the first base. If he stayed right on that base, not in front of it, if he stayed right in front of it, you'd see how much room there is between Gordon and the bag.
It's a bigger lead right there.
Could be two. Uribe with the feed to Flores, and the turn in time to double up Yelich. Nicely done. 4-6-3, 2 out.
How about the play by Uribe?
Well, this is the big leagues. You got to make that play tailor-made. That's something you would expect, Ron, from your teammates right there. But Uribe's a third baseman, and does it nicely.
He can just play.
He's just been such a great addition. He and Kelly Johnson have been kind of unsung. I don't even want to say they're unsung. People know what they've been doing. Overshadowed might be a better word.
There's Martin Prado, who grounded out to third base his first time up. Well, Uribe began his career as a shortstop. And Terry asked him to play some first base, and he was honest. He said, I really don't think I can play first base. He said, but I'll play second. And he's played second very adequately when he's been asked to fill in that spot.
You know, some infielders just don't like playing with that first base glove. It really takes some getting used to play with that big mitt.
Well, it would have got him some playing time. He could have played first, some extra playing time.
Because Lucas came pulled up with the bad back.
And Kadire was out.
Kadire was out.
They didn't have him to fill in as the right-handed first baseman. Right ahead 0-2. And Prado skies one to left center. Lagares takes care of it. That retires the side. The Reds still face the minimum over 4, and he leads 1-0. Football leagues with grants, equipment donations, clinics, and Jets game experiences. Find out more about SNY's Play Ball Football Week on Geico Sports Night tonight after the postgame show, only on SNY. Mets up 1-0 on, you already knew, a Yoenis Cespedes home run. Travis d'Arnaud leading off in the home fourth and swings over the changeup from Justin Nicolino. Travis had a base hit off the glove of the shortstop Rojas' first time up. Nicolino's given up 4 hits, including that Cespedes bomb. The ball to strike to d'Arnaud with Kadire and Duda to follow in the fourth. Justin Nicolino's 9th major league start. Mets are facing 2 left-handed starters in this series. They'll see another rookie left-hander, Adam Conley, on Wednesday night. So a chance for the right-handed platoon to get some time. You know, when the Mets won the World Series in 1969, Gil Hodges had a heavily platooned team.
Yeah, right.
He platooned at first base with Ed Kranepool and Don Clendenin. He platooned at second base with Ken Boswell and Al Weiss.
Third base, too.
Third base with Ed Charles and Wayne Garrett. Right field with Art Shamsky and Ron Swoboda.
86 team platooned more than you think, right?
Well, Lenny Mook, Wally Tuff. That's about it.
Left field. Mitch and
Heeper once in a while,
yeah.
but Heeper wasn't a platoon.
No.
We had George in the beginning, remember?
Right back to Nicolino, and he makes the play on d'Arnaud. So I think a lot of people have in their minds that a championship type team has an everyday lineup that runs out there every day. That's not always the case.
You'd love to have an everyday lineup. It's just not what it is.
What's interesting now with this team is that they've gotten contributions from so many people. It's going to make postseason roster construction a little dicey.
Yeah. There's going to be some disappointed people, I'll tell you that.
Well, also, you know, you start with how many pitchers do you need? Especially when you have a pitcher like Harvey, who might have some limits as far as how many innings he can pitch.
You got to have your right-handed bats because you're going to face Kershaw a couple times if you go up against the Dodgers.
Dyer pulls one down to third. And Prado makes the play for the second out. I mean, let's start with that. How many pitchers do you need? Do you need 11? Can you get away with 10?
Well, depends.
In a 5-game series?
If you're going to put Cologne, start Matz right there. We just showed Matz. Put him in the rotation.
DeGrom, Harvey, Syndergaard, Matz.
And then Cologne becomes your long man, your serious long man. Then you can go a little shorter in your bullpen and strengthen your bench.
I agree.
There's Duda with 2 out and nobody on. Because think about the Mets bench needs. You've got to have a backup catcher. If you're going to have all those platoons, do you keep Tejada on the roster? Or do you just run with Flores as your shortstop without a backup?
You've got to have Tejada on the roster in my mind.
So and those are the questions they're going to have to answer. Do you keep an Eric Young around as a pinch runner if you have 7 bench players, if you only have 10 pitchers?
We saw it work for Kansas City last year. The reason I think a stronger bench is, in my opinion, is that where are some of the weaknesses for the Dodgers? It's in that bullpen. Matching up against that bullpen before you get to Jansen at the end is going to be very important.
Playing him perfectly is Prado, the only man on the left side, and he throws him out to end the inning. That was the shortstop Rojas.
Yes,
that's all right. So confused. Steve Gelbs has the night off. Let's check in with Eamon McEnany. Eamon?
Well, Gary, to continue the conversation about potential postseason spots on the roster, overshadowed somewhat by the late inning theatrics yesterday, was Bobby Parnell's first appearance since September 1st. The righty worked a scoreless inning and a third to pick up the win. And I asked him earlier today just how significant it was for him, and he told me it was a big game. He said he finally knew now that he could make the adjustments to go out there and get batters out again. He told me the biggest adjustment involved his arm action. He said before he was fighting himself to get his arm up above his shoulder, but after working with Dan Worthen on the side, he felt yesterday it was the easiest for him to get his arm up above his shoulder than it had been in a long time. He then told me the next step for him is to get and develop some consistency. And he said, how do you do that? You get more outings. But he admits that that's tricky because right now, obviously, the number one priority is for this team to win games and not get Bobby Parnell ready. But Terry Collins definitely admits that he really wants to use Bobby Parnell, one, because he doesn't want to gas out the back end of the bullpen, but also he wants to see what he has left. So, Gary, it should be certainly interesting to see down the stretch if Bobby Parnell can get enough outings to develop trust, for the Mets to develop trust in him as Bohr flies it out to right field.
Well, Ronnie, there's no question that Bobby Parnell had more life on his fastball yesterday than we'd seen in a long time.
He had a life on his fastball. He also had a confidence that we haven't seen in some time. When you see certain pitchers go through bad stretches, it's almost when they're on the field, you feel like something bad's going to happen. It certainly didn't look like that with Bobby. Breaking ball was a little more consistent, and I think it was one of the more important outings he's had in his career. He needed it.
He did have something bad happen. Granderson lost the ball in the sun, but he was able to recover from it and pitched a very good ninth inning to get the Mets to extra innings, and it was impressive. It was.
Listen, he had an appearance here where he got a ball back to him, and the infielders did not cover the base as well as they probably should have, and he couldn't pitch through that. So it's nice to see him pitch through some mistakes.
Dietrich lines one to right, cutting over is Kadire, but he'll have to play it on a hop. And Derek Dietrich has the Marlins' second hit of the night, a one-out single.
Change up towards the end of the bat, didn't get it away enough. Oh, yes, he did. It's good hitting by Dietrich right here. He's on top of the plate, but on the end of the bat, had him out in front.
So 1 out and 1 on. Now JT Realmuto, who struck out his first time up. Philadelphia, Jason Worth just hit a grand slam in the top of the 5th, and the Nats go up on the Phillies 6-2. So a not very nice night for Aaron Nola. He's given up 3 home runs tonight, counting for 6 runs. On the corner with a fastball, 1-1. And Logan Verrett filling in for Matt Harvey tonight. The plan still appears to be that Matt will pitch against the Yankees this weekend, but I think the plan is a little different than it was a few days ago. And Verrett is going to factor into that plan. Looks like Matt is going to pitch on something of a regular rotation, but just make shorter appearances, with Verrett probably being his piggyback.
I like that plan better because it keeps him on a schedule where he's throwing on the side. He's getting ready for a start. Okay, he's going to be an abbreviated start coming out, and Verrett's going to go out there. But at least it's going to keep him on some kind of schedule, so when he gets to where he needs to pitch in a big game, he'll be ready to go.
1-2 coming.
And you know,
off the right side.
Another thing, Gary, here, that ball's going to go out of play. They want to give DeGrom a skipped start. That's why I think Terry's not letting up, because the sooner you do it, the better. I want DeGrom to miss. If they're going to want to skip him, I don't want it the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Then maybe he only gets one start. That's not good for me. I want him to have a skip start, at least get 2.
I like that.
Back to back, didn't carry that into the playoffs. Now, not everybody comes back strong like Syndergaard did. Oh my goodness.
Realmuto hooks one into left field for a base hit. Dietrich goes to second and stops there. So back-to-back 1-out hits for the Marlins.
Well, it's obvious that they're getting on the breaking pitch. We're seeing a changeup hit, a slider hit. So Verrett's going to have to do a little more with his fastball here against the Miami Marlins.
So now Ichiro Suzuki, who flied out his first time up. Ichiro just 69 hits short of 3,000 for his major league career. Incredibly, he's in his 15th major league season, and he's on the verge of 3,000 hits. Think about that. He's averaged almost 200 hits a major league season. Some guys have trouble ever getting a single 200 hit season in their career.
Well, he's had he had one season, 260 or something?
Set the record.
Yeah.
A lot of times the guys that get the 200 hits are your leadoff hitters. Don't walk a lot. Get a lot of at bats. What was it? Juan Samuel has the record. He did have over 700 at bats one year.
Yes, he did.
Dave Cash had a year he had well over 700.
That is, to me, incredible.
262 hits in 2004.
Should be
all-time major league record.
Should be able to remember that number.
Well, George Sisler's record. And that just missed, and now Verrett is behind on Ichiro 3-0. So Verrett running into his first spot of trouble in this game. And number 8 hitter Miguel Rojas on deck. That's ball 4, so a 4-pitch walk to Ichiro, and that loads the bases with 1 out. First walk given up by Verrett, and then a draw of a visit from Dan Warthen.
Now he's flying open with that shoulder. I'm sure Danny's going to address that. That's an easy fix.
When you say it's an easy fix, Ronnie, is it an easy fix? Someone can point it out and you can fix that immediately?
If you're a veteran pitcher, you fix it out there. You don't need the pitching coach to come out. But when you're a young kid like Verrett, under the pressure, pitching in a game, making a spot start, sometimes it doesn't come to you quick enough, so you need to be reminded.
Well, if you're reminded, you can make that fix without experimenting a lot.
If you're in this league here, you better.
It's not a change in your motion. It's just keeping your shoulder tucked, like hitting. You're flying out. You know, you concentrate on keeping your shoulder in. It's the same principle, right, Ron?
Yeah, exact same.
Dietrich, Real Muto, and Suzuki, the base runners, with 1 out. So a big spot for Verrett in a 1-0 game in the 5th. Got the pitcher on deck. Rojas flying to center his first time up. Outfield playing very shallow against him. And he takes a fastball for a strike.
Oh, boy, you got a call there, didn't he? He's been calling that pitch all night. He said before, he's a good pitcher's umpire.
Rojas, it's a potential double play ball, but it's too slow. And that'll bring home the tying run. Flores gets the out at first. Dietrich comes home, and the game is tied at 1. So Rojas drives in a run. And now with second and third, the pitcher comes up.
Well, too much of a Baltimore chop here. Flores charges. It's all they can do. No play at home, only at first.
So 2 hits, a walk, and a ground out produce a run. And now Verrett with runners second and third and 2 out faces Nicolino, who took a call third strike his first time up. Slowly hit. Uribe there. Side retired. So Verrett limits the damage to 1 run halfway through at Citi Field. Mets and Marlins tied 1. Photo of the game. Tweet your strongest fan photo to hashtag SNY Data Strong Fan, and you can see yourself in an upcoming broadcast like Anthony and his buddies. We go to the bottom of the fifth in a 1-1 game. Justin Nicolino has a lot of run on 4 hits. Logan Verrett a run on 3. So these two rookie pitchers quitting themselves well so far. And it looks like Verrett's work is done, because with Wilmer Flores leading off the inning, Eric Campbell has come out on deck to pinch hit. So Verrett, who has thrown just 63 pitches in 5 innings, appears to be done for the night. It's a little bit of a surprise. He had gone down to Las Vegas to make a couple of starts to prepare himself to continue starting.
Looks like Gil Martin is in the bullpen looking at the Sox.
And this may be as much about getting Sean Gilmartin some work as getting Verrett out of the game, because it's been a while since Gilmartin's been in the game, and Terry has said for a couple of days that he needed to get Gilmartin in.
Well, think in terms of this. Is Verrett going to be on the postseason roster?
Poked the other way by Flores, and it goes foul.
Garrett, you think he's going to be on the postseason roster?
As currently constituted, all things being equal, I would think no.
I would think so also. So
is Gilmartin?
There's still question marks out in that bullpen, and they're going to get the work. They're going to get the look.
Do you think Gilmartin is a candidate for the postseason roster?
I do think that there's one person who's going to come out of that 3.
3 lefties, you mean?
Yep.
I've heard some discussion about Torres thinking that he might be able to test that calf.
Well, Torres,
but you know, Torres is your longer guy,
yeah.
And if Colon is in the bullpen to be your long guy, do you need that?
But he can also throw short. I like Torres. I'm sorry. I know he's had a up and down year, but oh boy.
Realmuto comes back to grab the pop up as Flores got seriously jammed for the first out.
A little cutter in. But I've always liked Carlos Torres. No, and like I said, he's had an up and down year, but he will take the ball. He'll go after hitters, and I think it was an injury that I thought was not fortuitous for the Mets.
So here's Campbell pinch hitting.
He should only pitch his kid on the road. He's 3-0 with an 0.87 on the road so far this year, and having a gem again tonight.
First pitcher in Marlins history to win his first 3 road starts, and going for number 4. Campbell takes a changeup outside, and it's 2-1.
Interesting. He slows his motion down on his changeup. Third time around. Looks like the Mets hitters will pick that up.
Juan Lagares on deck. And Campbell fooled by that changeup, and it's 2-2.
Nicolino is a very crafty left-hander. He's showing me some moxie here. He's one of those soft-tossing left-handers who knows what he's doing, and not afraid to throw inside.
He established that early in the game.
He did.
Two and 2 to Campbell with 1 out and nobody on. And fouls off the fastball. I want to take a moment to congratulate Mets assistant athletic trainer Brian Chicklow and his wife Ashley on the birth of their daughter Collins Elliott Chicklow.
Very nice.
Great name.
Isn't that a great name?
Is that their first? Do we know?
I shouldn't ask the question.
That's the answer to.
That's a little too personal.
Ichiro with a nice sliding grab to take a base hit away from Campbell for the second out.
Me and my big mouth. He never would have been Ironsides, I'll tell you that.
Perry Mason. Right into the webbing for the 10-time Gold Glover. So 2 out and nobody on. Now Lagares, who had an infield hit his last time up, 1 for 2. So Juan is now 6 for 11 in the month of September. Pops one foul. Bohr coming over. And he'll have room and makes the catch. That retires the side. So Nicolino's retired 7 in a row. We've got a 1-1 game after 5 at Citi Field. Gave up a run on 3 hits. Justin Nicolino has been just as good. 1 run, 4 hits over 5. Sean Gilmartin on in relief. Dee Gordon, his first batter, tries to drag a bunt. Gilmartin off the mound. The spinning toss goes down the line. Gordon heads for second and then thinks better of it and gets back to the bag. A base hit for Dee Gordon on a drag bunt. His second hit of the night. Neither one has left the infield.
Thought he made the right play here, Gilmartin, as far as doing a reverse here, Ron, in the pivot, but he just threw a 2-foot sidearm. And then
when you're turning, you lose sometimes where the first baseman is.
Looked like he threw a changeup.
Yeah, he had a palm ball there.
I was always told if you had to do a spin and you lose control of where you are, pick up the runner, because he's going to be close to the bag.
I used to always give a target with my glove.
You did. You used to hold it real wide as you could.
Give you a big bullseye. Hopefully you pick it up.
Dee Gordon's a good player.
Yes.
Oh, man.
And getting better. He really knows his own game, doesn't he?
Yes, he does.
176 hits now, leads the National League. Yelich grounded into a double play after Gordon's base hit in the 4th. So Gordon has in mind to try and steal one against Gilmartin. Here he goes. The throw by Darno on a hop. Not in time. And that's 51 stolen bases for D. Gordon.
Sometimes, most of the time, well, if a left-hander doesn't have a really great move, they're the easiest people to steal off of, because you can take a chance, and if you go when he breaks from the belt and you can run like D. Gordon, you can have a howitzer back there. You're not throwing him out.
That's the first stolen base against Sean Gilmartin this season in 3 tries.
Did you see that Yadier Molina threw out Billy Hamilton last night? He looked up to the sky and said, finally. Hamilton had been 10 for 10 off Yadier.
It's not like Vince Coleman, who was 50 for 50 against the Mets before Mackey Sasser finally threw him out.
Guilty as charged.
Sure wasn't on your watch.
Hanger right there.
It honestly didn't really matter with Vince. You could hold him close. He didn't really take that big of a lead. He just outran the baseball.
Was he faster than everybody else, or was his technique particular?
Faster than Gordon.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes.
See, by the time we saw Vince in '91 every day.
He had Willie McGee, too, who was no slouch.
You can always do that here. You bring the guy after.
We're trying to learn from him.
Yes, you are. You're getting the guy right in the middle of it now. Cespedes.
Yelich just got a piece of that to stay in the at-bat.
And remember, Vince played a lot of his games on the carpet, where he was exponentially faster.
Well, you talk about taking big leads. You could always measure those big leads by the cutouts around first base on those artificial surfaces.
Well, they had more than a few guys that can steal bases on that team.
Yeah, but Vince was in a different class.
Yes, he was.
Two and two to Yelich, and Gilmartin gives a look to Gordon. D. Gordon has more stolen bases this year than the entire Mets team. Mets have stolen 48. Gordon has 51. Out to left. Cespedes back. Gordon back to tag, but he's not going to challenge Cespedes. 1 out.
Doesn't get the runner over.
So 1 out. Gordon still at second. Now Martin Prado. And if you're Gilmartin, I would think you have to be very wary here of Gordon stealing third.
And that would be the duty of Uribe to hold him close. I almost like the shortstop. Oh, they're going to walk him.
Going to walk Prado to pitch to Bohr.
Wow.
Interesting.
I would not do this personally.
I would not either.
Gilmartin is not a lefty on lefty specialist. If he was, it would make some sense. I know that the Mets are a little snake bit by what Prado did to them in Miami, but boy, he put up a guy with some serious pop in Justin Bohr.
Bohr has 50 at bats against lefties this year. He's hitting just .240, and I think most significantly for Terry, looking at the numbers, no home runs against left-handers. So let's see how it plays out. So a bunt single, a stolen base, now an intentional walk to Prado. That's ball 4. And Bohr will come up with 2 on and 1 out. In St. Petersburg tonight, Erasmo Ramirez has a no-hitter going through 6 against the Yankees. Bohr is 0 for 2 tonight, struck out and flied out. Gordon at second, Prado at first, and 1 out. And Bohr takes the breaking ball for a strike.
Yankees who faced knuckleballer R.A. Dickey yesterday.
Is it true that a knuckleballer can put a team in a slump?
At least for 6 innings.
That was an old wives' tale.
strike to Bohr. Another left-hand hitter, Derek Dietrich, on deck. Joe Martin working him back of Logan Verrett, who was terrific for 5 innings, a run on 3 hits, a walk, 3 strikeouts, just 63 pitches before he was lifted for a pinch hitter. There goes Gordon stealing third. Bohr pops it up. Garneau coming back for a look, but that's back in the crowd.
Boy, D had it too. But Bohr had a pitch to hit. He had to swing at it.
As a left-hand hitter, Keith, did it distract you to have a runner still in third?
I think even for right-hand hitters, because it's right there. Your view is to center field, Garrett. I don't even think the right-handers are impaired. It's a matter of when you get distracted. Your focus was always there.
Flores ran to the bag as the pitch was thrown to the plate, and Gilmore missed with the slider. 2-2. Miscommunication there.
I think most hitters don't like the guy stealing with 2 strikes. I think that's fair.
Two coming. Out to right field. Kadire is there. Gordon tagging. They'll go to third. Now there are 2 out. So Gilmartin gets the left-hand hitter Bohr. Now will face another left-hand hitter in Derek Dietrich.
Good move by Terry Collins there. It worked off the end of the bat by Bohr.
Gordon now at third. Prado at first with 2 down. Dietrich is 1 for 2. He singled and scored the Marlins run in the 5th. Phillies just scratched out a run in the bottom of the 6th. Washington 6, Philadelphia 3. And Dietrich takes the curveball for a strike. 0-1.
Big series for Minnesota. They jumped out to a 4-0 lead early.
Minnesota 1 game behind Texas for the 2nd wild card spot in the American League. Texas 3 games behind the Yankees for the 1st one.
Kansas City, even though they got a big lead, they got a little bit of a problem with Johnny Cueto.
He's lost 5 in a row. He's gotten beat up in all 5, and they've got to really be seriously thinking about what happens come October. I mean, they're going to be in. They've got a 10-game lead. Dietrich pops it up. Right, hoping for a play. Right to the railing. Leading, and he can't quite get to it. David gave it every bit of stretch that he had.
Have you noticed in this ballpark, the pop-ups to the third base foul will drift towards into the dugout. The ones down the first base line tend to stay in.
That's as close as it gets.
Now Gilmartin up in the count 1-2 on Dietrich. And the curveball lined into center field for a base hit, and that'll give the Marlins the lead. Gordon comes in to score the lead run. Derek Dietrich with his 2nd hit of the day. This one brings in a run and puts Miami up 2-1.
Well, one too many curveballs, and Gilmartin loves to throw that curve, and he's got a good one, but this one just kind of hung over the middle. Watch him hang in there, just didn't get it away enough, didn't get it down enough.
So the Marlins go up 2-1. Now JT Realmuto with 2 out and 2 on. In Philly, Cody Ashe, who had a walk-off home run the other night, just hit a 3-run homer to tie the game against the Nats.
Oh boy.
Who started that game for the Nats? Jordan Zimmerman?
That was Zimmerman, yeah.
He follows Scherzer, so
Scherzer was terrific yesterday in shutting out the Marlins for 8 innings. This is a Miami team that the Mets saw a week and a half ago, and they were feisty then. They've won 9 of their last 12, and they've got themselves a lead tonight. Gilmartin ahead in the count 0-2, and Real Muto has to bend back. Ichiro Suzuki would be next. Is Ichiro the only man in the majors who wears his first name on his back? 1-2 coming. Popped up foul. Coming back is Darno, but that's out.
I mean, that was common in the ABA in the day, but yeah, I would say yes.
I mean, it's almost like he's a Brazilian soccer player, right? A one name guy. But it's not a cultural thing. Like, that's just an Ichiro
like
thing.
Ronaldo.
Right. Suzuki is such a common name in pitching. Ichiro is his trademark, but it's not his last name.
Lined over short. That's a base hit for Real Muto. Here comes Prado to the plate, and he'll score. So Real Muto able to reach out and hook one to the left to drive in a run, and it's 3-1 Miami.
Change up, picked it off the ground. And it was out of the strike zone wide.
Now the Mets walked Prado to pitch to Bohr. That worked momentarily because Bohr made the second out. But now two straight 2-out hits by Dietrich and Real Muto have made the strategy look less viable. Now Ichiro bats with 2 out and 2 on. And he grounds one down to first, a foul ball. So the Mets again will have to count on their propensity for scoring late in game.
Yes, and
they have done historically well this last week.
And this Marlin team is game. They haven't checked out.
The Mets have won 7 straight games, and in each one of the 7, they've scored at least 3 runs from the 7th through the 9th inning. They're only the 3rd team in the last 60 years to do that in 7 straight games. Hansel Robles, back from hiatus, back from the Dominican Republic, following the death of his grandfather.
He's got tuck in his shirt, doesn't he? Hansel?
Sure, the umpires will instruct him before he goes to the mound.
I've never seen that.
Ichiro has flying to center and drawn a walk. 28 pitches already in this inning for Gilmartin. And the breaking ball in for a strike, 2-2. Two on, 2 out, 2-2 to Ichiro. And he lifts one out to right center. Kadire ranging over. And he puts it away to retire the side. But the Marlins score 2. A couple of 2-out hits by Dietrich and Real Muto. 3-1 Miami in the 6th. attend the VIP grand opening of Universal's newest dining experience, NBC Sports Grill and Brew. Just go to Facebook.com/SNY for your chance to win. Well, the Mets behind in the game for the first time as they come to bat in the bottom of the 6th. David Wright, Yoenis Cespedes, and Juan Uribe scheduled up against the rookie left-hander Justin Nicolino. Wright has doubled and hit a fly ball into a double play, 1 for 2, and he flies this one into shallow right. And Ichiro Suzuki settles under it. 1 pitch and 1 out for Nicolino in the 6th. He's now retired 8 in a row. The last man to reach safely against Nicolino, well, that was Cespedes. He reached safely and jogged the rest of the way.
Just incredible.
It makes it look so easy. Matt Harvey said to Terry Collins the other day, time to move him up to the next league.
He's like Orlando Cepeda. He's the baby bull.
.35 home runs, 103 runs batted in, 98 runs scored, 78 extra base hits.
The beat goes on.
And for the Mets, he's now hit 17 home runs, and they've all come in his last 31 games. Something no Met has ever done before. At any point. Much less shortly after coming over in a deadline deal. Just for perspective, Don Clendenin was acquired by the Mets in 1969 at the deadline when the deadline was June 15th. Cespedes now hit more home runs for the Mets than Clendenin did in 1969. Plus Clendenin also had 3 in the World Series. Mets wouldn't mind if Cespedes did that too.
There it is.
Erasmo Ramirez, no hitter through 7 tonight for the Rays against the Yankees, but no score as they go to the bottom of the 7th. Last time the Yankees were no hit, Billy Wagner finished it. It was that 6th pitcher.
That's right.
No hitter for the Astros. Eric Udell is up in the bullpen. Changeup gets Cespedes for the 2nd out. Only the 2nd strikeout of the night for Nicolino, who averages less than 3 strikeouts per 9 innings.
Got him to chase.
So this is the 9th start for Nicolino. That's his 18th strikeout, which ties him with Corey Kluber, who had 18 in 1 game. Kind of puts it in perspective, doesn't it?
Now Uribe, who's fly deep to center and grounded out to 2nd. And he pulls that one over the bag. That's a fair ball going down the line into the deep corner where Dietrich plays it, and Uribe cruises into 2nd base with a 2-out double.
Got a breaking ball hanging. Inner half. Up. Watch the umpire. Nicely done.
It's Lance Barrett, nimble down there at 3rd.
Uribe hasn't lost it.
Uribe's got 26 hits with the Mets. That's now 14 extra base hits.
Here's d'Arnaud tying run at the plate in a 3-1 game. Travis is 1 for 2 tonight at a base hit in the 2nd. Nicolino up to 86 pitches. And they're going to get the bullpen going. Kyle Barraclough, who was so impressive when the Mets saw him in Miami.
Hard thrower, hard slider.
Great name.
They've got Barraclough now in the bullpen, and they've got Scott McGuff. Both their names end in O-U-G-H, but they don't rhyme.
That's right.
Well, you know that street in San Francisco?
Yeah, Gough, right?
Yeah, it's pronounced Go.
Go.
Yeah, Go Street. Go figure.
D'Arnaud deep to center field. Yelich back, looking up, and it's out of here! Travis d'Arnaud ties the game with a 2-run homer. Number 12 for d'Arnaud, and it's 3-3 in the sixth. He said it earlier, he's been kind of overlooked with all of Cespedes' heroics, but Travis d'Arnaud has been fabulous since the Mets got him healthy.
He can hit. And the Mets just continue, Gary, to answer.
That was the greatest forearm smash I've ever seen.
Fastball right down the pipe. And let me tell you, it's an opposite field. That's a bomb. He's got pop.
You know forearm smashes.
I do.
You played in Oakland.
McGuire and Canseco. d'Arnaud almost knocked Bob Guerin over.
So the Mets get back even, not Kadire.
Watch this.
Oh. Second home run, Justin Nicolino has watched sail out. Cespedes went second deck on him. And d'Arnaud hit one well over 400 feet as well. 12 home runs and only 189 at bats for d'Arnaud. Imagine what his numbers would be like if he'd been healthy all year. 2 long trips to the disabled list, limiting his season. But the converse, of course, is that it's a lot fresher now than he would be if he had 500 at bats. Caught 140 games.
20 home run season. 20 plus home runs. Again, these are all the pieces that Sandy Alderson picked up. They came over in that Toronto trade, that beautiful trade.
Ari Dickey for Noah Syndergaard and Travis d'Arnaud. That's paying off in spades.
Yeah, certainly has.
Kadire drives one out to right, but Suzuki is there. And that retires the side, but Travis d'Arnaud taking one a long way to center field. A catcher with power. His 12th home run, a 2-run shot. It's 3-3 as we go to the 7th.
Bad. Look at that first batter face, though. That number's not good, but the averages are good. Opponents average under 200, 153 against left-handers, 215 against right-handers.
Missed the entire Atlanta series away after the passing of his grandfather. Last pitch in Washington a week ago tonight. Travis d'Arnaud's 2-run homer, getting the Mets back even after the Marlins put up a 2 spot in the top of the 7th. Miguel Rojas will lead off for Miami in the 7th inning. Tomas Telis has come out on deck to bat for Justin Nicolino, so his work is done after 6. Rojas drove in the first Miami run with a ground out. He looks to push a bunt and takes ball 1.
Looked like he was trying to push that to the right side just to keep that in the back of your head just in case. That's Telis.
Telis, a switch hitting catcher who the Marlins got from Texas.
Good slider right there. That's the pitch that Robles has worked hard on. Erratic with that slider. He's got the rubber arm. He throws hard.
Sean Gilmartin worked the 6th, allowed 2 runs, 3 hits. Mets got back even, and now Robles working in the 7th. 3 sliders in a row, and he's behind 2-1.
It's that weather, huh? Little mock turtle almost underneath that uniform.
You used to model that.
Oh, the weighted ball, Ron.
There you go.
And now Robles. Well, he talked about his troubles with first batters. Well, he's behind his first batter 3-1. In this case, his first batter in a week. That's ripped and caught by David Wright. An absolute bullet dripping with exit velocity, and David was equal to it for the first down.
That might be a record with exit velocity here. I don't know how David got his hand up, his glove up. He's got it covered. Nice play. The leadoff dub right there.
One very hard out. And now Tomas Telis is the pinch hitter. And Robles fires a fastball for a strike.
Nicolino was solid. And the home runs hurt him, definitely, but solid out.
Telis, 24 years old, got some big league time in Texas last year and again this year. The quick pitch by Robles, and he had him beat.
Gotta be ready. Should be in the scouting report.
You would think by this time.
Yes.
And another one.
And there's nothing wrong with it. I remember facing the ultimate quick pitcher, Jim Cott, when he came over from the White Sox to the Phillies. I mean, you had to get in the box and be ready to hit.
Larry McWilliams used to pitch quickly too.
Oh, now they used to be made of like lead before, right?
Hitters should not be touching that ball.
Skim just fell.
You know what it is? It's just like the pitcher shouldn't be touching the bat.
Exactly.
The hitters.
Exactly. I agree.
Yep.
Let's check out tonight's Verizon trivia question. 2 players with 250 or more hits for both the Mets and the Marlins. Telis keeps wasting away the best offerings from Robles. Well, I got one easy.
Yeah, I
dropped the pop-up once.
Yes, he did.
Oh, but I saw it coming.
Another one had a nice hitting streak. Could that be it?
Yeah, did he have?
I don't know if he had enough.
Yeah, man. Did it hit him? It did. It nicked his elbow. And Talise is on base. So after all those foul balls, Talise finds his way aboard.
You can check if he swung. Did he swing?
Yep, it got him.
No, he didn't.
And on that back elbow, he pointed immediately, and the home plate umpire Dan Iasonia agreed. Now we'll get a pinch runner. Cole Gillespie will run for Talise. Gillespie has a hand injury, can't bat, can't play the field, but he can run. Banged his left hand into the wall in a game against Milwaukee this last week. So Gillespie, the pinch runner, carrying the go-ahead run with 1 out, and now back to the top of the batting order for D. Gordon, who's 2 for 3, 2 infield hits. He's stolen a base. He scored a run. David comes way in at third base. Gordon takes a strike. Uribe really shortened up at second base. Tough to turn 2 against Gordon. Ball and a strike.
Interesting, isn't it, that with all the shifts and all the thought that people put into things, that maybe you'd give a thought to not playing at double play depth against D. Gordon and playing a regular defense just to cover as much spots as you can.
It's interesting. You ever think in those terms, Keith, that there are certain guys you just can't double up?
Ronnie makes a very good point. The only time you're going to double him up if he hits a bullet.
And if he hits a bullet, you're probably better off playing further back. Give yourself a chance to catch it.
Usually the fast guys, the only way they're doubled up is they hit that 2-hopper that lands right on the bag, where the guy runs across and tags the bag and throws him out at first.
Well, particularly with this defensive alignment by the Mets up the middle with Flores and Uribe, there's not a whole lot of range up the middle.
Robles ahead 1-2. Christian Yelich on deck. Two and 2. Michael Flaherty, the next man up in the Mets bullpen. Mets won yesterday using second line relievers, and so far they've stayed with that formula tonight. Gillespie, the pinch runner at first with 1 out. And Gordon slaps one foul. Robles, the third Met pitcher of the night. Logan Verrett went 5, allowed a run on 3 hits. So 2 starts for Verrett, 13 innings, 2 runs. Let's have to be thrilled with that. Again, the 2-2, and Gordon wastes another one.
I just really appreciate the hitter that knows thyself, has decided to cut down in his swing, put the ball in play. You never know what can happen with your speed. Line drives and ground balls, and make it happen.
Well, he's got a perfect role model, doesn't he? In Ichiro Suzuki, who, has amassed nearly 3,000 hits. Many of them in just that fashion. And Ichiro's 41 still runs well, but he was as fast as anybody in the game.
I mean, he would hit that ground ball to shortstop and beat it out routinely.
8th pitch of the at-bat coming from Robles to Gordon. And he struck him out.
That's that backup slider, Keith, that doesn't break.
And he got him to go. Well, I don't believe it was a strike. I think it was outside. He went after a bad one. Chased it.
He was just trying to foul that ball off. Couldn't even reach it. So 2 out. Gillespie still at first, and now Christian Yelich, who's gone 0 for 3 tonight, lined out, grounded into a double play, fly to left. These have been hard-working innings for the Mets bullpen these last 2. Gil Martin threw 30 pitches in the 6th, and Robles about to throw his 23rd in the 7th. And Yelich skies one to left center. Easy for Cespedes. Side retired. Those two have trouble deciding who's going to catch the ball. I think they've just taken turns. 3-3 Mets at the break. Attendance will receive a Mets Know Your Roots t-shirt courtesy of Avoderm and Nylabone. For tickets, visit Mets.com/free shirt Fridays. SNY Super Slow Motion is brought to you by your Mercedes-Benz Tri-State dealers. Visit them on the web at searchmercedes.com. Stretching, well, dancing.
There you go. Yeah.
Fireballing right-hander Kyle Barraclough comes in to pitch for the Marlins.
Well, as Gary mentioned earlier, came over in a trade with St. Louis, and this guy has an arm. He's a very hard thrower, very hard slider, and look at his numbers.
Lucas Duda, first man to face him in the home 7th, and takes a fastball outside. Duda 0 for 2 tonight. Got the start against the lefty, flied out and grounded out against Nicolino. Now gets to face a right-hander for the first time. Wilmer Flores on deck, and then the pitcher's spot for the Mets in the 7th. And Duda takes a strike on the outside, 1-1. And now after one strike, they flip-flop the infielders. Prado goes to the right side. And the shortstop Rojas back to the left. Do you get that? Why they do that? Start with the third baseman on the left side and the shortstop on the right, and then flip them after one strike?
Doesn't sync with me.
2-1 to Lucas, and a half swing on the slider. He went around 2-2.
Well, I think that their numbers would be right, is that with no strikes, he's more apt to pull, so you're going to put your better or quicker infielder on the right side. Once after one strike, he's more apt to hit the ball to the left side.
Which he did his last time up. This time he doesn't hit it anywhere. He takes a call third strike.
That's a strike.
There's a Dodge Mets box score. 2 swings of the bat accounting for the 3-man runs. Yoenis Cespedes went second deck in the third inning. Darno went center field seats for a 2-run shot in the 6th.
Mets don't have enough room on our graphics for the extra players.
Mets have 38 players. They have 12 extra men on the bench. They've used 1 so far tonight. Flores has been intentionally walked and fouled out 0 for 1. And he fouls back the fastball.
I mean, the clubhouses today's stadiums are huge, so it's a whole different thing. Keith, when you and I played, can you imagine 38 guys fixing it in Wrigley Field?
I'd never minded the young kids coming up in September 1st, because you can kind of play big league with them, and it was always fun. But when you're in a stretch run, you don't want too many around. It's got to be business. You got to keep the group together.
Yeah, because they're having fun.
But just about everybody who's here was here at some point this season. It's not like these are guys who were in the minor leagues all year. So they've all been a part of this this conclave, and now they're just rejoining. Curtis Granderson is on deck to pinch hit. Curtis getting the night off tonight with a lefty starting. 2-2 to Flores with 1 out. And Wilmer lays off the slider, 3-2. Cal Barraclough came over right before the trading deadline from the Cardinals in the deal that sent Steve Cishek to St. Louis. Cishek, who began the year as the Marlins closer before he lost that job early in the season. And Flores takes ball 4. So Wilmer, who rarely walks, gets aboard, and the Mets have the lead run on base. Well, the Mets have been roughing up opposing bullpens. That's no secret. Never more so than in Atlanta the last few days. 28 runs in 20 2/3 innings against opposing bullpens in the last 7 games, and a lot of it because of bases on balls.
Look at the 21 walks. That's just obscene.
Eric Young runs for Flores, carrying the lead run.
Well, a lot of it too, Gary, is just horrific bullpens.
EY was caught stealing yesterday in the 8th inning. He's got Granderson at the plate pinch hitting. Curtis 1 for 4 as a pinch hitter this year. And EY takes off early. The throw by Real Muto is not even close. And Young has his first stolen base in his return to the Mets.
Well, that's what he's there for. And don't waste any time. He steal it as early as possible. The hitter will be very grateful. Now he can concentrate on hitting. He's got him in scoring position. Now base it puts the Mets ahead.
Eric had been caught in his first 2 attempts since returning to the Mets. It's his 4th stolen base of the season, the other 3 coming with the Braves. So now the tie-breaking run in scoring position. You got Lagares on deck. They're going to pitch to Granderson.
Surprising.
A little surprised by that. Well, maybe part of that is Dan Jennings looking in that Mets dugout and seeing all those left-hand hitters available. Johnson and Murphy and Conforto and Nieuwenhuis, and there's Conforto on deck to bat for Lagares. And that, I assume, is why they're pitching to Granderson.
Let's pick your poison. Good changeup.
Curtis has been drawing an inordinate number of walks lately. He has walked 12 times in the last 7 games, getting on base at a prodigious rate. And now Barraclough behind him 3-1.
Well, there's only one thing to look for here, and that's a fastball. Pick your poisons. You want to look middle in, or you can look away. They're probably going to keep it away. All you need is a base hit.
Ooh, threw it by him at 96.
And he got it away, and he just beat him.
He's got a great arm. Look at Ichiro on right. A little shallow.
Oh,
your taste?
Yes, they played very shallow run in that whole series in Miami.
Figures if Granderson hits it over his head, he'll probably go over the fence. And Curtis lays off the 3-2 breaking ball, and he is aboard again. He is on quite a roll, just getting on base seemingly every time he comes to the plate.
And like I said, a guy that struck out over 130 times, he's become, as the season's progressed, a very good 2-strike hitter. It doesn't sound like you can make that statement, but it's true.
Now Conforto announced into the game as the pinch hitter.
You give a scouting report right here, which is this kid can hit. But Barraclough's got a good arm. That's the Duke. Ellington up. Ryan Ellington
also has a good arm. Maybe not as good as Barraclough. So Terry Collins using his bench here in the 7th. Young to pinch run, Granderson to pinch hit, now Conforto to pinch hit for Lagares, who went 1 for 3 tonight. Trying to get the lead here in the 7th in a 3-3 game. Conforto went 4 for 13 in the series in Atlanta with a 2-run homer yesterday. That was as hard as any ball has been hit this year. Halfway up the deck in right field. Young at second, Granderson at first. Good speed on the bases for Conforto.
Oh, backdoor slider. This is the home run yesterday. He got the Mets on the board. High changeup. Bye-bye.
Hit the ball real hard.
Yes, he did. He won't.
Was that another EV number? Good number?
117. Breaking ball from Barraclough. He's ahead on Conforto 0-2. By the way, Curtis Granderson has now walked in 10 straight games. New career high for him.
Interesting choice of Conforto with all the left-handers on the bench for Terry, showing confidence in the young rookie. He could have pinched hit Murphy, a veteran, good pinch hitter.
Johnson. But outfielder for outfielder, that way he doesn't have to spend 2 players.
Yeah, but he can afford to spend 2 players with the bench he's got. He can throw Neuenhuis in there. So I think it's a kudos to Conforto, the youngster. He's a rookie.
He's going to get the breaking ball again.
1-2 from Barraclough. And he rips it foul. Low bridging Tom Goodwin, his first base coach. Well, still quick.
Not quick enough.
Tom was quite the base stealer back in his day. He could fly.
He had almost 400 steals, didn't he?
Now the 1-2. Good eye. Conforto able to lay off. 2-2.
For a young hitter called up in the middle of the season, he has shown a tremendous eye at the plate, tremendous maturity.
And he's done well as a pinch hitter in limited opportunities. 2 for 4 with a walk.
Well, that's where the danger has come for pitchers now, is that if you try to just get a pitch by him away, he's got power to the opposite field.
Two. He popped it up. Infield fly rule will be invoked. And Bohr puts it away for the second out.
Good pitch, Ronnie. Up and in fastball. You throw that hard, that's a tough one to lay off. Up and in.
Yeah, he's trying to go up and in there.
And he did.
So now 2 out and 2 on for David Wright. David has a double in 3 trips. Young at second, Granderson at first with 2 out.
David's had that uppercut going in this game. Got a nice hole between first and second. Go back to base hits. Put your team ahead.
Up and in for ball 1. That was slider for a strike, 1-1. Barrett calls very.
He's got some nice stuff, doesn't he?
That's sharp.
You can see him being a future closer with this team. 1-1 to David. And he hits one out to center field. Hit pretty well. Yelich going back to the warning track. It's over his head. And hops over the wall for a ground rule double. Young scores. Granderson will have to go back to third, but David Wright gives the Mets the lead. An RBI double, and it's 4-3 New York in the 7th. Second double of the night for David, and he hit it 400 feet away to center field.
Fastball up. And this is hit well, but you know what? If you're going to play that shallow, you better be able to get back and make that play. That's a fly ball.
You're right, Keith. You can't play that shallow if you don't have the speed and the wherewithal to be able to make that catch. It reminds me of 2006 when David hit that ball over Johnny Damon's head in center field against the Yanks and Mariano Rivera.
The ball bouncing over the fence cost the Mets a run. Now they're going to walk Cespedes intentionally. That's a no-brainer with first base open. And Uribe will come up with the bases loaded. If that ball stays in play, Granderson would have scored from first base easily. But he had to go back to third when it hopped over the fence.
These are fighting words for these Mets fans when you intentionally walk Cespedes.
I would intentionally walk Cespedes even if first base wasn't open, the way he's going.
Barraclough does not like the intentional walk. 2 of them have almost been in the strike zone.
It's a Henry Mejia type intentional walk. So Cespedes gets the intentional pass, and now with the Mets having gained the lead here in the 7th, Juan Uribe has a chance to expand it. Uribe had a big hit in the 6th inning, 2 out and nobody on. He doubled down the left field line and then scored in front of Travis Garneau's 2-run homer.
So Terry letting the veteran hit.
The all-day conversation continues between David Wright and D. Gordon. Love to hear what's going on there.
Well, David lives in the city. They can go out to dinner.
Slide it off the plate to Uribe, ball 1.
This is the city that never sleeps.
Perfect. Took that by Uribe.
Big cut. Does not get cheated. So Yelich, after getting burned, look how shallow he is in center field. My goodness.
Well, that's going to be an organizational thing, right?
Look at that.
They want their outfielders to play shallow.
I'm sorry. That's way too shallow.
1-2 coming. And it goes to the backstop. It bounces right back to Realmuto, and Granderson able to scramble back.
What a break for the Marlins.
Well, these newer ballparks with the short distance between home plate and the backstop. This is something we see more frequently now than ever.
Very fortunate.
Good base running by Curtis, right, to realize that.
Nicely done.
Now the 2-2. Up and away. And a full count to Uribe.
Oh.
And that'll set the merry-go-round in motion. Darno would be next. Granderson right, and Cespedes will all be running. 3-2, 2 out. And Uribe went around, strike 3. Realmuto steps on the plate to complete the inning. The Mets settle for just the 1 run in the bottom of the 7th. David Wright's long double puts the Mets in front. The captain's second double of the night. 400 feet away to chase home the go-ahead run, and it's 4-3 New York going to the 8th. To play second base. Ruben Tejada is in at short. Michael Conforto, who pinch hits, stays in left. Yoenis Cespedes moves from left to center, and Addison Reed will get the 8th inning tonight.
Well, he got the save in yesterday's ball game. See the numbers so far. First batter faced for him, and not good either.
That save for him yesterday was his first as a Met, his 4th of the year. Worked around an error in the 10th inning. They'll face 3, 4, and 5 in the Marlins batting order. Prado, Bohr, and Dietrich, with the Mets back in front 4-3. Mets led 1-0, trailed 3-1, tied it in the 6th, went back in front in the 7th.
Well, with a 9.5 game lead, Reed has been throwing well. Terry has liked how he's thrown. Clippard, he wants to give him another couple days. So this is a good, with a 9.5 game lead. It gives you the flexibility to do this, to do some testing.
Well, when you think about it, Keith, now you have Reed, who has over 100 saves in the big leagues, 40 with the White Sox in 2013. Clippard, who saved games. Familia, who's having a great season.
Prado reaches for one and pops it up into no man's land. Who's going to get it? Johnson on the run, makes the grab. Just into the game, Kelly Johnson with a terrific play for the first out.
Well, the old pro, he's calling it. He wants it. And he's got it.
Well done.
If you're keeping a scorecard, and I'm so pleased if you are. Tejada's hitting 8th in the order. Johnson's hitting 9th. The pitcher goes in the 4th spot.
In Uribe spot.
Yes. Here's Bohr, who's 0 for 3, struck out and flied out twice.
See, Dan Iasone says, I'm fine. Come back here, Darno. No reason to go out there and give me any time. And foul tip right off Darno, got the umpire. Iasone shook it off. That's a good pitch. Fastball's away, and then that slider. Missed by 5 feet.
1-2 coming. Just got a piece as he fouled off that fastball. Gilmartin worked an inning, allowed 2 runs, 3 hits. Hansel Robles, a hitless 7th. He's now pitcher of record on the long side. And now Reed. 1-2. Just outside. 2-2. Johnson playing well back into right field. And he struck him out with a slider. Addison Reed with his first strikeout gets Justin Bohr for the 2nd out.
Reed showing a good slider. Good spot, not a strike. Tough to lay off.
He's right on the side of that baseball on the seam. And it's a late breaker. That's what gets Bohr. You notice there, right? There's a lot of arms and legs from Reed. It's hard to pick up the baseball.
Now Derek Dietrich with 2 out and nobody on. Dietrich's 2 for 3 tonight. And he takes a strike. Dietrich drove in a run with a single to center his last time up. That gave the Marlins a 2-1 lead. They would score another run on that 6th. Travis d'Arnaud tied it with a 2-run homer. David Wright's double put the Mets in front. Ball and a strike to Dietrich. JT Realmuto would be next. D'Arnaud sets up away, and Dietrich hits one to short. Tejada's first chance. Low throw. Duda handles it. Side retired. 1-2-3 top of the 8th for Addison Reed. 4-3 New York in the 8th. wonder whether they will count on those guys as they make their plans for next year.
Well, you know, they're power arms, so that is where it's going. Teams that have the best bullpens have the power arms at the end of their bullpen.
To Kadire, who's 0 for 3 tonight. Jerry's Familia getting ready in the Mets bullpen. Night before last became only the 3rd pitcher in Mets history to register 40 or more saves in a season. Game 2 of this series tomorrow night with Jacob deGrom on the mound for the Mets against Tom Kohler. Our coverage begins at 6 o'clock tomorrow night right here on SNY. And there are the City probables for the remainder of the series. Bartolo Colon gets his next start on Wednesday night against the rookie left-hander Adam Conley. 2-1 to Kadire. And he hits it out to right field. Ichiro ranging over. And there are 2 out. Now Lucas Duda. Lucas 0 for 3 tonight. Flied out, grounded out, struck out. In the 9th inning, the Marlins are due to send up Real Muto, Suzuki, and Rojas. They do not have any left-hand hitters on their bench. Their most prominent pinch hitting option would probably be Casey McGee. Duda gets jammed, flies one out to left. Yelich right there waiting for it. A 1-2-3 inning for Brian Ellington, and now it's Familia time as the Mets try and lock down their 8th straight win. On to the 9th. Mets 4, Marlins 3. Kirk Neuenhuis comes into play right field. And J. Reese Familia bids for save number 41.
2 of his last 3 appearances, he's gotten a save. His ERA since July 31st is 0.41.
Pitched a 1-2-3 9th inning on Saturday night in Atlanta. JT Realmuto leads off in the 9th inning for Miami in a 1-run game. And he takes a slider for a strike. Real Muto 2 for 3 and a base hit to drive and run his last time up. Ichiro Suzuki to follow, then Miguel Rojas. Marcelo Ozuna hitting in the 9-hole is due up 4th in the inning. Chopper. Johnson hurries in. Has time. 1 out. Coming up tonight, Geico Sports Night with Chris Carlin. He'll have Giants, he'll have Jets, and he'll have nitrogen. I'm just saying.
He lives in Jersey. You just put the leaves on the street. They come up and pick it up. What's the difference?
Here's Ichiro, who's 0 for 2 and a walk tonight.
Looking for 8 in a row, Gary. What a run.
Nats and Phillies are in the bottom of the 9th. They're tied 6-6. And the Mets with a chance to reduce their magic number by themselves to 10 and with help to 9 tonight. Ball and a strike to Ichiro. Armando Benitez twice reached 40 saves. Billy Wagner did it once. Familia joined that club Saturday night. Benitez has the top 2 save seasons in Mets history. He saved 43 in 2001 and 41 in 2000. Wagner saved 40 in 2006. Familia has a chance to obliterate all of that.
Yes, he does.
A large portion of the Mets record book is going to be rewritten when this season is over. 2-1 to Suzuki. And Ichiro slaps one foul, and it's 2-2. Two coming, and he struck him out. From that splitter, and Ichiro was overmatched. 2 men down.
Did you see that look by Ichiro? He took a peek over his shoulder. Like, what was that pitch?
Well, he's seen it before.
Watch this look. Stay with him, Greg.
Are you kidding me? That's what he said. So the Marlins down to their final out. They'll go Rojas to batter, 0 for 3. Lined out to David Wright, who made a leaping grab his last time up. Marlins 3 runs, 6 hits. The Mets 4 runs and 7 hits. Hansel Robles, pitcher of record on the long side. He threw a hitless 7th. Reed a 1-2-3 8th. And now Familia trying to finish it off. Bouncing ball. Wright has got it. And the ball game is over. Save number 41 for Jeurys Familia. 8 straight wins for the Mets. Home runs from Cespedes and d'Arnaud. David Wright with the big hit. And the Mets just keep on rolling as they beat the Marlins 4-3.
Well, 7 hits for the Mets, and they made them count. Another important come from behind win, Gary. They just keep coming back. Down 3-2 in the bottom of the 6th. d'Arnaud ties it up with a 2-run shot. They strike in the 7th with the RBI double by Wright, and the Mets are just continue to roll.
And think about it, in another start that's supposed to be Matt Harvey's, you skip him, you pitch Logan Verrett, and the Mets are 2-0 in starts by Verrett.
Verrett did fine tonight. 5 innings, 1 run, 3 hits, pulled after 63 pitches. Sean Gilmartin staggered in the 6th, but the rest of the bullpen was just about perfect. Robles, Reed, and Familia finishing it up as the Mets take a 1-run victory from the Marlins. They're now 11-6 against Miami this year. 8 straight Met wins. And a victory tonight, 4-3. For every Mets win, the Mets Foundation is proud to contribute $2,500 to the Cats Women's Hospital and the Cats Institute for Women's Health. For more information, visit northshorelij.com/KIWH. This win brings the total contribution so far this season to $207,500. That's what 83 wins will get you.
Mets win at 4-3 tonight.
We'll come back with more from Citi Field in just a moment.